everybody, I'm Tom Vasel, and today we're taking a look at Tabletop Inc. Now, Tabletop Inc. was originally called Meeple Incorporated. It was then forced by Cosmos, and that became the story of the game. They changed it to Tabletop Inc., and since they didn't want to call the little wooden people inside this game, they could have just called them people because they're people. They didn't want to call them meeples, so they call them moomins, which is the only time you will hear that word said from me for the rest of my life, because that is a terrible word. But this is a game about making games, which is about as meta as our industry can get. It's like Hollywood making a movie about making movies. They never do that. Anyway, let's take a look at how this plays, and we'll be right back. In this game, you are making, games. Each game has a quality box, and in that box you need to put some components, so maybe tiles in this one, and standees in this one. They're a value of 2 and 3. Some mechanisms, a legacy game, and deck building, and then finally just a lid. Here we have zombies and capitalism. I have little board games. And one of your goals is to make these board games so that they win an award, so then you can put them on your Calyx shelf. Now, the way you're doing that is a worker placement game on this board here. There are many different spaces on the board to place your workers. So if it's a white one, you can just place it there. You'll get the benefit inside. This one gives you money, and then you'll take the action that it shows here. And this one, for example, gives you 2 dice, one of the resources in the game. The resources in the game are dice, we have ingenuity, we have time, and there is money, and there are magnifying glass, which is research. So you're going to go to these spots. There are yellow spots, some that are only open in a 4-player game. If you go to them, you'll get that thing too, but below it, you have to pay a resource. So if I go to this one here, I have to pay $1, but it gives me a die, and then 2 more dice from going to this spot. So those are the different spots and areas on the board to go to. These are cards that you can get. These are special cards that were going to be worth points at the end of the game, but they are spots where only you can place a worker. Like, for example, this one gives you 4 points every time you put one of your workers in it. This will let you upgrade the quality of part of your game 2 spaces. These give you a specific worker, which you will take, and when you have that worker, you can place them just like a normal one, but they don't have to pay costs of the yellow, and they get a benefit if they go to a specific spot on the board. Players have a table in front of them where they'll start with an advantage or disadvantage here. These are people working for your company, and this shows what level you can build. So right now I can only build a level 1 box, a level 1 mechanism, and a level 1 component. But if I hired that person, what you can do with these people that you hire, before you can use them, you have to give them a seat at the table, which is another action, and then they will add to how good you are at mechanisms, etc. So this is a spot where you would go to sit someone at your table. You can also go here to upgrade your people, paying money to give them bonuses, again, to make those things. Down in these spots, you'll get resources, and up here is where you make your game. Over here, you can go to one of these spots to take a mechanism or a component token, and you'll have to pay the appropriate resources to do so. Here's where you're going to be getting your boxes. Then you'll be putting your game together over here, and you can submit it for an award over here. Each player has an award card that will tell them what they can do and what kind of game they need to put together to get that award. Down below, more spots to get resources, or you can get these item cards, which can give you more icons, or some sort of bonus you can use in your turn, like an extra worker, or, 2 victory points. Players are going to keep doing this for a certain number of turns, and at the end of those turns, they're going to get points for each game. Games, like this zombie game here, are usually worth, when you add the things together, so 1, 2, and 4, this is a 7-point game that you've made. You're also going to get points from different tiles, and games that you've submitted for awards will give you even more bonuses, and whoever has the most points is the winner. Tabletop Inc. is a game about theme, right? It's going to be very thematic to, gamers like me. who understand all these mechanisms and all the different things that you're talking about in the games and the little parodies of those game boxes, who understand the fascination with the fact that this game comes with a calyx, and I'll call it that, of course. It also comes with easels that simply exist to hold the name of your company there, which, by the way, I know everyone was on the side of Meeple Inc. here when Hans and Gluck went after him, and, you can't trademark the thing. But they're kind of towing the line here. The names of their companies, like Gmon Games, I don't know. They were really towing the line. Why not just make something that looks cool rather than having to get that close parody-wise? But they have all this cool stuff in there, and it's a box full of pieces, and there's a lot going on. I mean, these little boxes are really cool that hold the little components in them. They're also kind of a pain in the neck to store and build, and you're going to have fun trying to shove all the pieces into this game. There's a lot going on here. There's many steps to making a game. You need to get that box, then you need to get the mechanisms, then you need to get the components, and then you need to get the resources to get all that stuff done, and maybe hire some workers here and there, and then finally publish your game and hopefully put it up for some sort of award. That is a lot of steps. There's not a ton of turns in the game. You could easily have a game where you produce 1 or 2 games. So that's fine. I don't mind it. That's part of the game that it takes a while to get there. Where it comes down, there's a couple problems I have with this game. The first is there's just too much. This is the kind of game that did not see an editor. An editor would have chopped off pieces. The worker placement board, there's so many different spots there. And the graphic design and art is not particularly well done. It's really hard to see stuff. There's whole cutesiness. The meeples are making games about themselves. That's confusing. Just make a game about making games, right? That's fine, but why anyhow. There's just so many spaces, and that board, all the symbols, you look and you're like, what does everything do? Now, there's another side of the board where they cut a lot of the pictures off, depleting the theme slightly, but it is much easier to figure out what the places do. But even then, there's so many spots, there's so many things to go to, you're like, and you're looking around the board. And that ties into the resources. There's a bunch of resources. You need research, you need ingenuity, you need money, you need research. There's these different kinds of things that you're going to get, time. And it's not hard to get resources, but knowing where to go and what place to get the resources and what those resources are used for is kind of a mess in your head. You're just, why do I need time? Time is used for maybe this spot over here. And it's just not a very streamlined product. This could be so much better if it was streamlined. As it is, it's simply too long. It says 60 minutes in the box. That is flat out incorrect. Maybe 2 players is 60 minutes. It's much longer than that. And that's not even necessarily a bad thing. I'm not saying the game shouldn't be longer, but it doesn't feel, the whole time you're just like, I can go here. What does this person do? And then the components kind of don't match. You have the wooden people, and then you also have those plastic standees, which don't even fit on the spots properly. That's kind of weird. So that's just kind of a mess. Don't get me wrong, I like the theme, and I like a lot of the ideas of this. I like the idea of you putting out your workers. And I didn't mention this in an overview, but this is important. Instead of putting out a worker, you can pull all your workers back. When you pull your workers back, you count the number of workers you pull back, and you move a token on the track. When a token reaches 0, that triggers the end of the game. So you can make the game go faster, I suppose, if you put out workers and then pull them back. I don't know. And you can make the game longer if you want, they say in the rule book, but they don't recommend it, and I agree. But if you want to make more games, you'll have to do that. So that's one of my problems with the game. The other problem with the game is the points. I don't get it. I showed you a card there that was worth points if you bought it at the end of the game. And every time you put a worker on it, you get 4 points. If I spend a ton of time making a good board game, the best board game, you get 12 points. That's pre-awards. An award game can go to 17 or 18 points. But let's say I don't get an award, 12 points. I can place my worker on that spot 3 times and get 4 points, 4 points, 4 points. I only need to place it on there 2 times because putting it on the card is 4 points, putting it on is 4 points, and it's also worth 4 points at the end of the game. To get a board game made of that highest quality, 444, I need to do a whole lot of setup. I need to go get the box. I need to get the mechanisms. I need to get the components. I need to then package it all up together and send it out. I also need to get the resources to get all that stuff done. And probably I can't do that. I'm going to have to go upgrade the game at a spot too because I probably got lower mechanisms and things in there. All that for 12 points. But if I have a spot you can go, in the games I played at this, if you get one of those spots in one game, a guy got the 4 points, person would get 4 points and 3 points. So he just go 4, 3, pull his workers back. 4, 3, pull his workers back. What's the disadvantage of that? So I found that to be problematic. And in fact, the whole game and point system. The theme is really cool if you're into that. If you want to make board games, I'm okay with that. Art and graphics, I think they're messy and they get in the way. Not streamlined at all. I feel like it could use, just a good razor edge, an editor coming in and fixing these things. And then it doesn't feel particularly balanced. I didn't hate it though, right? I'm all that, and there's something about making the games. And you do get a thing. I Like Trains is the name of this game, and this game is called One Iron Knot. Okay, fine. And then I'm like, well, this game is a worker placement game, and I use miniatures in it or whatever. And that's kind of cool. And the version I have here, I don't know if there is a non-deluxe version, but the components are really cool. There's no reason to keep these easels. What a waste of space they are. But it is neat to have dice as an actual resource. Dice means dice in games. So that's kind of cool. I just wish that the game was one I would want to bring out more often. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of effort to get this one to the table. And I feel that that's a problem. So it's neat. I like a lot of the ideas, other than what they named their meeples. But I think this one for me is just okay. It's a 6 out of 10. That's Tabletop Inc. I'm Tom Vasel, and you've been watching the Dice Tower, where we talk about games. But in this case, you can make them. Hey everybody, thanks for watching this video. If you like this review or whatever you just watched, wasn't it amazing? Check out our channel, Dice Tower. We have all kinds of things. We review games, we do top 10s, we play games live. It's all about board games, but especially the people who play them. Check out Dice Tower YouTube channel.